Okay, so it's been a while since I did one of these. So let's go over to this trade recap. I ended up picking actually two trades. It was a breaking long, a long on silver. I'm just not really gonna show it. So this is the first gap we printed. So obviously gold was failing to implement the high today multiple times. So by this point here, we got some defill. There's a V shape, right? So I traded that. I wasn't breaking around internal high or like it was when yeah, pretty much gold hit the internal high, right? And silver, so because we should just expand past it, and that never happened. So obviously just seeking destroy. So then I stopped trading it, right? This is a very good chance to go higher. If that fails, like we're probably gonna have to retake this low. And so it would just be taking lows over and over again, right? So yeah, just seek and destroy, right? Well, this has expanded higher. So we just wasted a bunch of the range. But my focus here was mostly on oils. Like this is it's very good. So you see me use the 24-hour chart. Um, this is only it's only big. Okay, I can definitely do this by the way. Events. Okay. So it looks the same. That's like too clutter. So I'm using the 24-hour chart because I believe Monday was bank holiday. Anyway, so the chart got incorporated. Like if I go to the daily, it's different. You can see right. These 2 days got put together, but they're obviously different, right? So what do we do in the week? It's like kind of like pretty important, right? Especially looking at higher time frame. Um, so besides that, the chart will look the same. So I will use the 24-hour. So we open low, right? Gapping down. So we open low, right? What does this also do? Doesn't trade into anything. So I have a very deep retracement, Princess C2, all right, with SMT. So it's kind of weird using SMT fail with the UB opening gap pretty much. Usually you don't do that. So that's why I didn't trade this day, I believe. I didn't short these this day, but either way, right? So then what did we do on RB? As we and as well as HO, but engage with this low. What phase price do we get? Do we get retracement this day? No, right? Or do we get reversal? No, we just rip through it, right? So it's this low right here. So then the context that this right here is a gap, both assets, even HO. Okay, let's go and pull HO. Oh, this is HO. All right, so it's very similar to CL, but yeah, for CL, pretty much similar. This day closes also PSPL. I forgot to mention that. So that's technically two-stage. So this day, right? So this right here, we put a swim point and expand next day. Perfect, right? Because what is this also doing? This day, it's already kind of failed to template this day, right? Because this opens low and don't establish high. This trades very high into range. It's like, yeah, yep. It's the next day, but so this right here, as soon as we fail to template this low, this two-stage right here, which is so it's a gap right on this asset. Now, ideally, usually, especially in the lower time frame, I'll always demand two of these assets to have a gap there, right? As opposed to only one in this case, because HO that is not a gap, right? But still, that's totally fine with me because this is showing that it's fair to about this. So this should hold, right? So we also print PSP. So this is two-stage. So like you'd be very one-sided bearish today, and potentially, ideally, you trade this asset. Now you're seeing that we're not really having a lot of expansion lower. I don't know why. We're not too overextended, right? Because this is a C2, right? So we expect this day to expand, right? Potentially catch up to these lows. I would say this is a very small wick. You see the other daily forms here. It's not the best thing in the world. Definitely. Let me find 1800 real quick. What a puppy. Let me pull up the 4 hour. There it is. That's the 1800. All right. So what does the day do? They open slow. So we have a key level here. There's no SMT with it. Or at least there wasn't very early into the day. I believe HO does trade into this, right? It trades above this, right? So it's a gap. You could say SMT fill. I really don't care about that. All I care about is this relevant swing that we print, right? So we engage with these lows. I'm pretty sure it actually opens, yep, see, right? So it opens low, it leaves equal lows, and then we create this high. So honestly, here what I was thinking is we wanted to manipulate this high right here at 2300, where we would just fail to manipulate the high once we broke the SMT on both RB and HO. In this case, that's RB. I thought that was gonna go like push us lower, but not really. So we get a gap, so you can trade universal sequence. Do we get a universal sequence? No, but there's nothing here. Don't get SMT fill. Don't get anything. So what does that mean, right? We hit, because like we hit the low, so and we get consolidation. What does that mean? We can assume that we're probably gonna manipulate something, right? So that's exactly what we got right here, right? The same shit on HO. HO goes a lot deeper, but we're rolling down expansion higher, right? That's why the profile is pretty important here. Like we're perfectly like rolling down expansion higher. Obviously, like even here, like right here, this low, just more fair swings added to the confluence where I don't know why we had such a deep retracement here, but either way, like we're still leaving equal lows. All right, so looks like we might be expanding anyways. And the thing that's very clean about this is that we are lining the profile, which is like open low, delay protraction at 10, right? We're lining that with the two-stage, right? Which with trend switch, right? Because this is trend switch PSP. So we take the high, check this closes bearish. It's not only on one asset, it's on both, right? Now, unfortunately, if you look inside of that, I guess you could have probably traded this at the close at 11. So we're gonna look at that real quick. I believe this is the close. Yep. So technically, you could have entered this, something like that. Very extensive. Perhaps you demand a gap. You guys don't. Yeah, I think the gap would have probably been fine. And you go for these lows. That's like 4R as well. The reason I am not talking about this CSD is because it's not aligned yet on this asset. You see actually that we do get confirmation earlier with a 50-minute trend switch like this. Between these candles. But this high right here, if you look inside, as you can see, once we put that, we just expanded so much. This is probably because of news. Not really planned news. So something about the war, I don't know exactly. So already had that, but I don't think that's tradable necessarily. So I'm not really care. I don't care about that. So what am I waiting for? Universal sequence, right? And this is where it gets very good. Already this is pretty textbook. Like we have like just to remind you guys, and these are the type of trades that I should be taking. I've been taking a little bit lower probability trades overall, like kind of pushing my edge a little bit. But it really shows that like these trades, these are the highest probability. Like this is the trade you should wait for, and not full port them, but I guess these can still fail. But all right, so what I was saying is from the weekly to the daily, you know, and inside and the profile, everything is aligned to go lower. Now we have an established high today, and like this is one of the cleanest framework I've ever seen. Because we get expansion, right? This turns into 30-minute gap. So I was eyeing potentially let's maybe pull up RB and HO here. It looks a lot cleaner. All right, there it is. So I was eyeing SMT with this gap, or so because we already had it, and it's this right here. It's a 50-minute, but it's gonna create a 30-minute, and 12 is around the corner. So you have to wait. You have to wait for 12 here. I guess if you short it in the scanner, you would not been stopped out, but you have to wait. Because it's gonna be a gap here, right? So like technically, you could assume that we should not hit this high if we're gonna deliver the low, but I don't like to do that. So I just waited for price to show me, right? Especially because look how this candle is gonna close, right? We're very likely to just take the high. At that point, you just need that, right? You just need trend switch. So technically, this is also PSP. So yeah, like if you waited for this close, very likely we don't hit this high, but you still have to wait for confirmation, in my opinion. So the nice thing about this trade is that it's leaving equal lows from loaded with load day on HO, As you can see, this is just consolidating. And even though RB hit low today, it's leaving equal lows with previous low. Yeah, overall, this is the SMT break where CL hit this low, right? Right, like it's this one, right? Pretty much. So it's like already hit. Yeah, it's like this low, right? Already hit. What do we get? Sort of consolidation, not the cleanest expansion ever, right? And then we hit this low as well, which is previous low. What do we get? Again, retracement slash consolidation. So we know this asset should hit the same low, obviously. Looks like this would have been a brutal break even if I held all the way down here. That's why I just go for like 3R. I mean, this tour is a little bit more than 3R, but yeah, because it made sense to TP there. it makes sense to absolutely TP at these lows right here. So yeah, let's just drop to the lower time frame here, right? So that's why I'm using this, is because it's a gap, right? We're inside of a gap technically because it's a 50-minute S&P full, right? I can definitely use that. You can definitely use that. And also I'll go over why I don't care about this high, because technically it's in the way. Obviously here, right? 50-minute gap, right? And what is it gonna form? A 30-minute. So we expect that. We don't have to fill this, by the way. But we expect one of these assets, especially since this closes PSP. It's just very likely that we can probably disregard this right here and just get this right here, right? That one stage right there. It's very likely it does that, especially here, right? This is fractalizing price. If you look inside of this candle, right, because it does print a C2, right? It's below this low. If you look inside of this candle, this word drop right here. Is there a reversal? I guess we can't expand it, but then you expect what? You expect this, like 12 right here, to open and just actually just CSDs, just expand. Because like if you're true, if it's like a C2 candle, we should just expand, right? Already there, should expand, but we don't do that, right? This is where we already had a CSD here, right? So that's the first sign of a strength switch. And again, so I don't care about this high, or oops, I don't really care about this high right here. I don't see that as like a fair swing because it's just a new 15-minute candle. Like if you look at the 30-minute, that is not there, right? Sure. In 30-minute, it's just a C2 candle here, and then it so happens to have a 15-minute that's very close to it. Again, I don't really care about that, as you can see. So technically it's like this, where if you use 50-minute candles, it's like this, and then we expand on this candle. If you use 30-minute, it's like this, okay? Again, it makes a lot of sense why I wouldn't put it here, because like this transfer doesn't happen there, really. It's more so here, right? When this asset finally hits the high and then actually gives a CSD. So this is my entry. I personally, again, I do require every asset to show me that it's reversing, and the only exception is actually strength switch, but today I did require it. Because you see my entry over, I did require it because HO just didn't give the CSD. So I want at least 2 of these, and like on inversion here, I'll go over how I confirmed that we were actually displacing away. Because like visually, obviously here I entered on this candle actually. Visually here we haven't CSD yet, so yeah, we're okay, we're expanding, but no, it doesn't have to be protected swing. So yeah, for this day, I did require this, and obviously this is where I entered it. So around this gap right here. Again, and I had to wait for this to CSD to show me that it's reversing. So 12, 18 right here, it does CSD. Also, it's kind of like a weird decoupling where this has a final CSD slower and this is retracing in a gap. So ideally, you enter market here as soon as this candle closes. I got a little bit of worse feel. I don't want to say hesitation necessarily. I wait a couple of seconds, but yeah, I should have just market executed here. Now again, I got probably a little bit worse feel. Does that really matter? Not much. I think ITP probably a little bit past this as well, but like really the same trade, and you definitely put it the bodies because we have a gap. So, and yeah, I was gonna say how DTP a 3R, but there's a little bit more. So yeah, let's go show you guys how I could trust this. So You can either use the 1 minute or the 2. For me, it's pretty much the same. In this case, you get, like, I use both. So, in this case, here you get 1 minute V shape plus a gap, right? Right around 12:18. This is retracing here. And if I go 2 minutes, well, oops. If I go 2 minute V shape, right? It's very unconventional timing to use this, but in this case, it's also online with the 12:18 close. Um, probably same. It looks pretty much the same, right? It's just a time frame in between. I only used like the 1 minute, 2 minute for 15-minute and 30-minute candles. Okay, to confirm the high of that candle. So it makes total sense, especially with equal lows here. I don't have to like obviously like this is highest probability. If I was gonna trade HO, obviously I'm gonna trade RB because it should get there as well. Like especially here, since we have strength switch, it should get there as well. Otherwise, you normally trade HO, and yeah, I would use the 1 minute or 2 minute to confirm the swing point. So the same way I would want to trade this right here, I have to wait for that to happen, right? And yeah, it's kind of weird. Honestly, CL took a little bit to CSD. I don't know why. Like it could have just because like we already had it here. Right, it was like this, wherever. I mean, we should have ended up trading a little bit higher. It's already headed here. We could have CSD here. It just took a little bit more. It took a little bit longer. Again, I don't really care about that as much. And so yeah, that was my trade, right? Pretty clean. I took it off here. Obviously, like normally, I think yeah, this would have been break even. Normally if you trade JXT, you hold at least a partial here. Like you're definitely partial here in my opinion. And you hold a runner. That's what I meant to say. Hold a runner for that. And yeah, this was a very clean trade. You can tell lower time frame here was also very, very clean. Obviously, by the way, you could have done this as well if you wanted to. I think it's not needed at all. But I do believe it's needed for this asset to show that it's reversing, right? Even though it's trend switch again, it's a little bit discretionary. Why I waited for this asset to show me that they were gonna trade lower. It's just mostly because this is also like it took like it was expanding quite a bit, right? So I want to see definitely this, at least this asset, you know. But then we also got this one at the same time. Well, this is retracing. So yeah, you're assuming that's a lower time frame retracement from a true reversal, right? And this is a high probability gap, right? Even though I use 50-minute, so obviously like you don't want to use 50-minute if it's gonna be a 30-minute gap. I did use it for one stage, that's why I didn't take it here. But in this case, it's kind of weird because like this asset is not gonna print a 30-minute gap at the 11:30 high. Neither is this asset, but HO will, right? So usually I don't really care if it's gonna be a gap on your one asset. I will use the lower time frame, right? Which gives me a 50-minute gap here. So we kind of inverse this. It's not the cleanest, but yep. You can just gap just like swing points and it's literally the same shit. And so yeah, I mean that was a trade. Very, very good trade. I'll go show the executions here in a second. Very clean. And I just wanted to end before show execution by saying that yeah, these are the type of trades that you should be taking. And dude, like ideally this is the best fill you can go on. Again, I'll go the worst fill. That's gonna happen sometimes. Like these are the type of trades that you're gonna take, and like this is enough to put you up 5 hours for the week. It's really like when everything is aligned and if it looks beautiful and it's like perfect, like from the bias, from the weekly, the daily, you know, we know this day cannot expand higher. 1800 is beautiful. The only thing I would say is like the 4 hour here is pretty large for a wick. It's pretty large to trade this. So we're actually also waiting for 12. And we trade the Universal sequence. Yeah. I'll probably continue doing that where actually Universal sequence on lower probability day because like obviously this is just kind of consolidation, right? But once we expand away, you can definitely trust it. So yeah, just a reminder to take high probability trades. Do not like do not try and take like low probability stuff, or if you do, take it with the minimum of risk ever, or take it on account that you don't care about like losing money on and whatnot. So why did I take RB? Again, gets better RR. The draw liquidity is pretty much the same. I'm assuming HO should reverse off of this low. And now yeah, this is a very good draw liquidity. Pretty much perfect. Like, yeah. So okay, these are the executions. So unfortunately here, I am on Linux. I just switched to Linux. I completely ditched Windows for the first time. So I accidentally entered a position here by clicking Shift as I was typing, trying to type strength switch here. So yeah, I just clicked immediately wherever, a couple bucks, I think $10 lost, 20, whatever, it doesn't really matter. And there it is, there's my fill. Plus shit. It did decrease quite a bit, like almost 1 hour. Not that I would have entered with 2 contracts, I think, with if I got that fill. But either way, right? And that's where a TP right there is equal those. All right, there is that's gonna be it.